Hi Astro fam, welcome back to Astrology by Ari, and as you guys know, I'm going to be continuing the Wealth, Fame, and Power Caribbean Icon series. Today is season 1, episode 4, and today we're going to be featuring a second Jamaican artist by the name of Louis Grandison or Dexta Daps. Now, before I get into the birth chart analysis, I just want to give you a brief bio of Mr. Grandison. Originally known for his 2012 hit singles May You Be and Save Me Jah. In 2014, he was signed by the Seika Productions. And before fame, he came from a poverty-stricken community, Seaview, where he was motivated to start his musical career in 2006. Dexta Daps was born on the 12th of January, 1986, which makes him 35 years old, and he is, of course, a Capricorn. So jumping right into his birth chart, we see that Dexta has a sun in Capricorn at 22 degrees. Now, we know Capricorn is the sign that represents, the goat, literally, and it also represents our 10th house, which is our public house, our house of career and public recognition. And obviously Capricorn is a sign that is ruled by Saturn, so that means having your sun ruled by Saturn, that means a life marked by having rather challenging experiences, but each experience helps you to grow and become better and to become more skilled. And even Capricorn, Sun in Capricorn, could also be a placement where we see persons who have to go through either hardship, and because the sun has to do with the ego, this could be somebody who has suffered like a lot of ego deaths, who may have earlier in their life been insecure in one way or another. Of course, all the aspects come together to give us a full picture of that, but just from this one placement, Capricorn is definitely somebody who is more business minded, very focused on goals and accomplishing those goals and overcoming certain hurdles and challenges that, as I said before, come as a part of Saturn to really refine the personality. And then we have Moon, which is in Aquarius at the 21st degree. Now, of course, I'm not sure of his exact birth time. The moon really varies by 6 degrees. So because the moon is at 21 degrees, we know with certainty that he has an Aquarius moon. The degree may not be correct. Of course, our moon has to do with our emotional connectivity. There is an ability for, Dexta Daps to really use his creative abilities to really connect to people at an emotional level. Next we see he has Mercury in Capricorn at 10 degrees. Of course, Mercury is the way how we talk, the way how we communicate with others, the way how we write, the way how we think. And so again, we're going back into this Saturnian influence. This is somebody who, again, really developing skills for writing and thinking, and these processes may have been delayed. For example, in early childhood education and learning, there may have been some delays in that area. There may have been delays in terms of, there could have even been, hard or difficult relationships with siblings and neighbors and even classmates. But Mercury in Capricorn is telling that specifically there had to have been some sort of lack in the life as a child, especially when it comes to early childhood education. And that, a lot of the knowledge that is acquired by a person who has Mercury in Capricorn is sometimes these people tend to teach themselves. And, they tend to acquire knowledge a lot later in life, but you would find that these people are very driven to accomplish. And of course, when it comes to writing and those sorts of skills, those skills, again, improve over time. And when we see planets that are ruled by Saturn, which is Aquarius and Capricorn, we see that the maturity of those planets tend to come around age 35, 36. So you're going to see that he's going to be able to grow from strength to strength, specifically within the years 2021 and 2022. We should definitely look out to see how his career is going to be ending at this time when, his Mercury and his Sun and now his Venus, which he has in Capricorn at 20 degrees, how those things are maturing. Here's his Venus in Capricorn, again, 20 degrees. We talked about the 20th degree before in other readings. And again, 20th degree is the second and highest exaltation of Pluto in the degree theory. And so this gives his Venus a very scorpionic flavor. And we know that Venus in Scorpio has to do with, darkness. It has to do with mystery. It has to do with intensity. things that are taboo and considered to be very sexual, other people's money. But this is really showing, or speaking a little bit about what he might be known for, which is, his sexual energy, his sexual prowess at the 20th degree. Of course, this is somebody who has the ability to have intense sexuality. And then, of course, because Venus is in Capricorn, and Capricorn has to do with things that take a long time to be accomplished, this is somebody who is able to, really have endurance, enduring love, enduring affection, enduring money, because, of course, Venus also rules our money. So now in his 35th, 36th year and beyond, we're going to see, he is going to see, we may not know, that his finances are going to start to accumulate, and a lot of his efforts into his craft, in his writing and him putting himself out into the public arenas are going to be consolidating. And then we now see Mars is in Scorpio. Mars is domiciled in Scorpio. It's at the 17th degree, which is the second exaltation of Leo. And so that means the Martian energy in the chart is very strong. And of course, Mars in Scorpio represents a very sexual energy, a very sexual nature. Definitely people who can be very sexually intense or very driven outside of a sexual arena, people who are very goal oriented. And when we look at the other areas of the chart that have so much Saturn and so much restriction, it's really good to see that you have a Martian energy that's really helping to push things along. Because he has Mars in Scorpio, that we understand why there is some of the songs that he may sing may have a very sexual nature. On another hand, when we think about Mars and Scorpio, Scorpio is also known as the sign of the scorpion. Scorpions are known for stinging you. They're known for revenge. They're known for being spiteful and vindictive. So this is also another energy that you can see coming out in terms of more aggressive songs. And these things with Mars and Scorpio has an edge to it where, there is this intense energy. And of course, Scorpio and Pluto have to do with death as well. So you would see those sorts of themes that have to do with death and murder and violence. You see those themes coming up, as well as, taboo sexual topics and taboo topics related to murder and money and all of these sorts of things. Those things are going to be highlighted in the chart because, of course, Leo, public recognition and things like that. Now we're moving on to Jupiter. He has Jupiter, which would be in conjunction with his moon, not certain of what degree that would be, in Aquarius at the 20th degree. Now, having Aquarius at the 20th degree in a chart is very powerful because, of course, Aquarius represents the collective. Planet that has to do with an expansion. So he has an ability to reach a large amount of people through whatever field that he would have been able to pursue. But we see that the field is music. And having Aquarius again at the 20th degree, that means power over the masses. You have some ability to control. And because Aquarius has to do with innovation, that means trends, trends in music. There might be trends that may result from things that he says, or they might be memes, or they may be Instagram captions, things like that. There might be sound bites of things that he says that may turn into GIFs and things like that. But this is somebody who is definitely very artistic, sometimes, an industry leader, or he has the potential, to do that. Having Aquarius at 20 degrees, definitely a very, very powerful placement. And having Jupiter expanding that Aquarian energy, expanding his reach, really, really, really is a very powerful placement and a very great placement for 2021's astrological transit. So maybe we're definitely going to see some more things come out with him. I don't know if he has an astrologer or if he has any projects in the works, but a great time for him to look into something like that. So next thing that we're going to look at is the fact that he has Uranus in Sagittarius at the 20th degree. Again, we're seeing the 20th degree come out in the chart. This is the third time that we've seen the 20th degree in a chart, and that means exceptional power. Sagittarius is known as, the truth seeker, somebody who is freedom oriented, somebody who is definitely a little bit of, in one way or another, very hot-headed. So Uranus in Sagittarius could be somebody who gets upset at the blink of an eye, And depending on the aspects, which unfortunately we won't have a chance to look at today, but I'll let you know one aspect. We have Jupiter and Aquarius. Jupiter and Uranus both at the 20th degree. They make a sextile aspect to one another. So having Jupiter sextile Uranus, that could be changes, in relation to, his luck, sudden changes. Of course, the 20th degree, he suddenly becomes famous, suddenly becomes powerful. He suddenly sees, his control or his influence over the masses increase, over time. Maybe it might have been a surprise to him, initially, to see how far he was able to go in his career, and to understand that, because Scorpio and Pluto have to do with control, that this is not something that's going to really go away. This is the chart of somebody whose career is going to stick around for a while. And Saturn tends to do that. Saturn gives longevity, it gives endurance, and Pluto gives control, it gives intensity. So we're seeing a lot of these dynamics play out in his chart. The last thing that I want to look at before I get to the North Node is that he has Pluto again in Scorpio, which would make him a millennial at the 7th degree, which is the first exaltation of Libra. So he has money, it has to do with luxury, and so he has power in that realm, or he's able to gain, from his beauty, or he is able to use, his wealth or his luxury to have a power, or to have power in that specific area in his chart. That means that those things, growing up with lack, it would not have lasted always, because having Pluto in the 7th degree means power in Venusian things. So having other people's resources, or having partners, for example, because Libra represents the 7th house, and the 7th house has to do with our business relationships, or platonic relationships, and our romantic relationships. And so that means you may have romantic relationships that can be quite intense, can be quite transformational, can be bringers of luxury and wealth and power and fate come out in his chart, in addition to the other areas. Because every time we see 20 degrees and we see Pluto and Scorpio highlighted, we know that those areas are associated with power. So far we see he has Venus, Mars, Jupiter, Uranus, and Pluto associated, with power. Now we're going to look at today is the North Node, which is his North Node is in 5 degrees Taurus. Wonderful placement. 5 degrees, of course, has to do with the first exaltation of Leo. So the North Node in Taurus, sometimes Taurus has to do with the throat, the mouth. That's actually a really wonderful placement for somebody who wants to be a singer, or an artist, or a creative speaker, acts as a singer. The North Node is in Taurus. That means the South Node is in Scorpio. So that means he naturally is very comfortable using his Plutonian, his sexual energy. He's very comfortable in themes that relate to what we talked about: death, sex, property, taxes, other people's money, taboo topics. Those things are commonplace to him because his South Node, that's where he's coming from. He's so familiar with those topics. Now it's an opportunity for him to really develop and talk about things that have to do with luxury, that have to do with status, that have to do with money, and the management of his own money, instead of, the management of other people's money, and, being concerned about other people. He sort of needs to, provide for and focus in a little bit more on himself. And he has used, his musicality as a way to sustain himself and to support himself, accumulate tangible things, and not participating in sex work as your predominant, means of earning an income. I've gone a little bit far into that, but that's all we're going to look at today. We did get a chance to look at some aspects, and so I just want to thank you guys for listening to the entire video. I hope that you would have gotten a little bit of an understanding about Dexta Daps and his career, and how it has, how he has been able to come from a place of, poverty, and risen from that circumstance to be a person who is financially independent. And of course, I just want to ask you guys to subscribe to the channel, turn on the post notifications. If you would like to donate to the channel, I do have a PayPal. The link is going to be in the description below. Thank you guys so much, and until next time.